That free energy was demonstrated by somebody somewhere who built what is now known as the pyramid. They gave us a legacy that this type of power is still possible, that this type of energy still pervades our planet, and this therefore becomes the key to the kingdom of wisdom, how to get energy on this planet without burning up things, poisoning our air, killing our people, and thinking erroneously, because carbonization makes you think detrimental. It makes the whole body crave unnatural things, because we're obviously trying to live off something that doesn't give us life. When you look at pyramids from that point of view, you can begin to see how idiotic are some of the claims made for them by present-day European archaeologists and anthropologists. On the continent of Africa, and those of you who may, I see some faces that are very familiar to me, all of you are beautiful to me, at a place, because Africa, of course, is really not the continent's name, and I could get diverted on that for I don't know how long either. It's been known as Ethiopia and Kema and Akibuland and everything else. It was the 10th century pope that named it Africa after Leo Africanus. So many things to say if we just turn it around, but I'll try and stick with my main subject tonight. On the continent of Africa, in the country of Egypt, midway between Memphis and Alexandria in the Old Kingdom there, located in the province of which we call Giza, which is near the city of Cairo at a point midway between Upper and Lower Egypt. And as you remember your history books, there was an Upper Egypt and a Lower Egypt, and the Nile ran so-called backwards. Okay? Upper Egypt is the last thing to fall to the Macedonian. When you hear about these other invasions of Egypt, it was not Upper Egypt where the pharaohs and dignitaries lived, it was Lower Egypt where many of the wandering tribes and kingdoms were there. It is a wonder of the old world and a wonder of the present world. I know of no structure that can equal the wonder still of the Great Pyramid of Giza. They state that the Empire State Building, the John Hancock Building, the Sears Tower are now wonderful edifices. They are so tall, so ponderous that they strike you with awe. And yet in our age we see them built. They are like child's toys, child's building blocks compared to the one great pyramid at Giza. Why can I say so? Easily. That structure, located on 13 square acres, is composed of 2,500,000 blocks of stone. 2,500,000 blocks of stone. It weighs a guesstimated 6 million tons. It has within its structure itself over 1 million stones, and I want you to remember that word very loosely, stones, that weigh at least 3 3/4 tons, period. Just in general, what is the size of an average luxury car as far as weight goes? I won't say size by measurement. What's the tonnage? What's the weight, or what's the poundage? Anyone have any? Roughly, a little bit more. Anywhere from 2 to 3. Okay? That means that each one of those stones on the 1 million to 1.5 million level is equal to a big car. Now, there are some 500,000 that they state are past the 40-ton weight concept, and all the way up to what we might call 60 tons, from 40 to 60 tons. Now, this means that it begins to weigh in like a cement truck on the way to a job pour site. Not after it's poured as concrete, but when the mixture and the bed are there and you got all those tires buoyed up on the way to a bed site. Then they have some that weigh in at about the 50 to 70 ton mark, like a tank. Right? And they figure that that goes closely closely to 50,000 of them. This kind of figure goes on till we get into what is called the Grand Gallery, leading past the Queen's Chamber underneath and up the Grand Gallery entranceway into what we now call the King's Chamber, or the sacred sepulchre of the Great Pyramid of Giza. The stones there, and there are 6 granite monster stones, 6 granite monsters there. They guesstimate, because I don't think anybody's picked them up yet, they guesstimate that they weigh in at over 200 tons. 6 granite monsters, not at its base where you'd expect that kind of weight, if anybody could move that kind of weight, but right there in the Grand King's Chamber. 2 of them are of red granite, 2 of black granite, and 1 of white granite. Now, when you do your research papers, you find that granite is the hardest stone known to man. You do not find granite laying on the ground. Granite is found because it is compressed igneous rock. It is rock that has been under pressure for so long that it gets compact. That's why it's so hard. That's why it's so dense. You find that under mountain ranges. You find it under great pressure. And this is what leads to another very interesting thing about the Great Pyramid. What I want to do is to go through the tale that you will read in your dictionaries, in your encyclopedias. How many of you are teachers in here? Teachers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Then correct me if I'm wrong on the question and answer session. Teachers are still teaching, just like the dictionary still preaches and the encyclopedia still reads, that that monument was built for the Pharaoh Cheops about 2686 BC. It was built for Cheops to be buried in when Cheops died. When I walk to the board, can you still hear me? If not, I'll walk with the mic. Can you still hear me? The voice is usually pretty powerful, but I don't want you to miss. This structure is 481 feet high, 750 feet at 3 of its bases, or base, and then to kind of invert this image and make it 3-dimensional, on one base, on what they call its northern trajectory. Why don't you take this? Thank you. Maybe that'll work, but it's already on. Thank you. On one base, on which is called its northern trajectory, they had a great big argument here. They found that this was off, supposedly at this degree here. It measured in about 750 3/4. And they said, well, they goofed. It's not right. What they have found, however, is that everything else about it seems to be an amazing engineering dynamic. It is at the exact center of the equal land mass and water mass of Earth. If they built it any other place, they would not have had such a balance. Okay? They find also that each of the angles from the top to the corner is of the same linear perspective. They find again that it is symmetrical, so that if you take a compass, and maybe some people in here are masons or so, and you hang it as a plumb line from the apex or top, it would circle and make a complete circle encompassing each of the lateral lines, simply meaning this. Take it here, drop a plumb line down, it would spin and describe a circle exactly. It is an architecturing masterpiece, and still a wonder. They state uncategorically, and if you think I'm wrong, go get your dictionaries when you finish, go get your encyclopedias. They state this: it was built by 100,000 slaves working night and day for 20 years to serve a burial tomb provided for a very pompous Pharaoh Cheops. And what I usually do is not even tell you his name and then ask you who's buried there, but can't get to test you on that one.